the Foreign Minister and other members of the Cabinet, senior government officials, along with business and media personnel. One-on-one meeting of the Prime Minister and the Uzbek President was followed by delegation-level talks and joint media stakeout. The President also held a separate meeting with the President of Pakistan. During the visit, the entire gamut of bilateral relations, including cooperation in political, trade and economic, connectivity, education, culture, security and defense domains were reviewed. Several bilateral agreements and MOUs were signed. Second round of bilateral political consultations, the seventh session of Joint Ministerial Commission and second Joint Business Forum were also held in Islamabad on the eve of the visit. This visit is demonstrative of Pakistan's enhanced engagement with Central Asian countries as part of the Vision Central Asia policy, with political and diplomatic, trade and investment, energy and connectivity, security and defense, and people-to-people relations as its key strands. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been closely following the situation in Ukraine and have remained proactively engaged with the members of the international community on this issue. Pakistan is committed to the fundamental principles of the UN Charter, self-determination of peoples, non-use or threat of use of force, sovereignty and territorial integrity of states, and pacific settlement of disputes. Equally, Pakistan upholds these principles we believe must be consistently and universally respected. Pakistan remains deeply concerned at the recent turn of events. This reflects a failure of diplomacy. Prime Minister Imran Khan regretted the latest situation between Russia and Ukraine and said that Pakistan had hoped that diplomacy could avert military conflict. We have since repeatedly stressed the need for de-escalation, renewed negotiations, sustained dialogue, and continuous diplomacy. All efforts must be made to avoid further escalation of violence and loss of life, as well as military, political and economic tensions which can pose an unprecedented threat to international peace and security and global economic stability. As consistently underlined by Prime Minister, the developing countries are hit the hardest economically by conflict anywhere. We hope the talks initiated between the representatives of the Russian Federation and Ukraine will succeed in bringing about a cessation of hostilities and normalization of the situation. A diplomatic solution in accordance with relevant multilateral agreements, international law, and the provisions of the UN Charter is indispensable. Pakistan also supports all efforts to provide humanitarian relief to civilians in affected areas. We are also most concerned about the safety and welfare of Pakistani students and other citizens in Ukraine. The majority of them have been evacuated through a concerted effort in coordination with our concerned missions there, who have been working round the clock. Those who remain will be evacuated soon. We appreciate the cooperation of the Ukrainian authorities as well as the Polish, Romanian, Hungarian and other neighboring countries in this context. Ladies and gentlemen, by way of a quick roundup, at the invitation of the President of the Russian Federation, the Prime Minister Imran Khan visited Russia for an official visit on 23rd to 24th of February. The Prime Minister was accompanied by a high-level delegation, including members of the Cabinet. The bilateral summit between the Prime Minister and the Russian President was the highlight of the visit. Prime Minister Imran Khan met with President Putin in the Kremlin on 24th February. The two leaders had wide-ranging consultations on bilateral relations as well as regional and international issues of mutual interest. Foreign Minister Qureshi also held delegation-level talks with Foreign Minister Lavrov. There has been a flurry of diplomatic activities in recent days. The Foreign Minister received the Executive Director of UNICEF, and he also received Mr. Gilmore, European Union Special Representative for Human Rights, on 21st of February. The same day, the Foreign Minister also received Ambassador Ridwan Hussein, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia. The Foreign Minister highlighted the government's Engage Africa policy to deepen our across-the-board engagement with the African continent and the steps being taken in this regard. The Foreign Minister also held telephonic conversations with his German counterpart on 21st of February, wherein the two ministers exchanged views on bilateral relations as well as important regional issues. On 27th February, the Foreign Minister held a telephonic conversation with the Foreign Minister of Ukraine. The Foreign Minister shared Pakistan's perspective, reiterating serious concern at the situation and underscoring the importance of de-escalation and stressing the indispensability of diplomacy. Also on 27th February, the Foreign Minister received a call from Lord Tariq Ahmed. The two sides exchanged views on Pak-UK relations and regional and international issues of mutual interest. The Foreign Minister had telephonic conversations with his Polish and Romanian counterparts on 28th February and 1st March respectively. The Foreign Minister expressed appreciation to the two countries for warmly receiving Pakistani students and community members being evacuated from Ukraine. On 2nd March, the Foreign Minister also spoke to Mr. Josep Borrell, Vice President of the European Commission. Views were exchanged on the current situation in Ukraine and the emergency session of the General Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan and Ethiopia held the inaugural round of bilateral political consultations on 21st February. These were led by Foreign Secretary Sohail Mahmood and Ambassador Ridwan Hussein, Minister of State of Ethiopia.